when he wanted me to, he asked me, how can we generate more income at the bar? I said, well, we need to be unique. This is a nice bar. We're never going to be the Garage or some funky bar where there's darts being thrown and classic rock playing in the background. I said, so let's make drinks that our demographic, the older people in this neighborhood, may remember, but they haven't had them in 30 years. So I started researching it more, and I started playing with these drink mixes and everything, and came up with the first drink menu, which had an old-fashioned, I guess a Manhattan, a mojito, French 75. I think at some point there was a Brandy Alexander on one of them. But
was the Suffering Bastard on that first?
Suffering Bastard was on there. The Gin Ricky was on there. Pretty much adhering to the theme of, you know, Prohibition to 50s cocktails.
Yeah. But you had some of your own drinks on there too, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, I made those, adapted those to the Mobile market.
Yeah.
Vodka drinks, essentially.
Yeah.
Midtown Tarts, Dauphin Island Peach Teas, things like that, which sold, but, you know, I just, that was one of those things that was a necessity rather than you have to separate your passion.
Sure. But at the same time, I mean, it's still, I mean, you still put care into, I mean, you obviously tried to build a good drink.
Yeah. And that was the whole cause of it all.
Yeah.
Just to give people something else than, you know, what they're used to, and actually deliver on something. Give them a unique experience. I mean, that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. And what we're doing now, I mean, from Cortland's, obviously, from the flames of Cortland's, rise the flames of taste.
Rise the flaming phoenix of taste.
But what we're doing now, I mean, you finally have, it seems like, you know, for all other things we can complain about, it seems like you have a palette to work with here, and you have a space to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the things we could derail this interview and go back to complaining about, I mean, are you pretty happy with the response you've been getting?
I'm extremely happy for the most part. It's like I told Nodia when I first walked into his bar when Cortland's was closing down and I needed to find a job. I knew I didn't want to go work corporate. I wasn't really into the idea of going and taking a professional biology job at the Corps of Engineers because, like I said before, I like what I do. And I'd heard around that he was struggling with this bar, and I heard other people saying how terrible the bar manager there was, and you know how it was just sinking. So Anya and I decided to visit one night. We went in. It was just the guy was nice enough to us. You know, I got along with him great, but his mixing skills were terrible. I just said, make me something, and he gives me some concoction made with cinnamon liqueur and you know, like hot damn or something. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, this is bad, man. You can't do this at this bar. This is a destination bar. It's not a downtown bar. And I looked at that, and then heard Nadia complain a few times, and Cortland said, well, you need to go talk to him. He's looking for somebody. So I went in and spoke to him, and we sat down. He said, well, why you and not this guy, or why should I hire you? And I said, well, if you're happy with what's going on now, then there's no need, but this is what I envision for this bar. It's a destination. People have to drive to get here. Been in your bar before. Everybody's using pre-made mixes. They're being lazy. Nobody's going to come out for that subpar experience and make the extra. And though it's only right there, it might as well be 100 miles away because it's not downtown. Right. And so he said, okay. And we talked about it, and I said, now advertising is certainly going to be a part of this, and you know, putting money back in and everything else. Yeah. So I started out there and had to get rid of the whole bar staff because they just didn't want to learn. They were used to making their tips on, you know, the way it started. The girl there, the other guy there, they were used to making their quick tips off pouring Jack and Cokes, things like that. They didn't want to make these drinks because they didn't see the overall benefit of producing these drinks when they could make the same tips off of quicker, easier drinks. Yeah. What I had to explain to them is the bar's going to fail if you keep this up, so you'll have to go find another crappy job. Why not take some care and do this? Right. Let's get it going. So we did that, and yes, I'm happy with the ability to do things. I've gotten, even just having the free reign there and the ingredients to work with, I thought I was good before, but now I'm a lot better. Like, I recently went to Austin thinking these guys are in a whole new league because they have these ingredients. Yeah. And I sat down and talked with several mixologists after a competition, and they said, man, we'll give you a job right now.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I really want to learn. And they said, you don't need to learn. You know your stuff. You know why you taught yourself. That's the best thing. And I said, yeah, but obviously I need to learn more and more. And they said, well, yeah, we'll teach you that stuff. But you know, it was very encouraging to see how far along my skills have come in just a year of just having, you know, free reign over a bar.
Yeah.
And I think that would work with anybody. I mean, it's just like being in a kitchen where you have all the ingredients at your disposal and freedom to try something, you know.
Yeah, sure. You know, we've talked about your friends in Austin. You mentioned earlier about, you know, when you were starting to get into having friends who were going other places and doing
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the friends who sort of who kind of got into it in other places?
Yeah. That seems to stop it. Tom and Josh Raines, two brothers that I grew up surfing with around here, they moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and they were working at a brew house out there that was doing some of the old-fashioned type drinks. It was almost, it's called Ragtime. It's a brew house out there in Jacks Beach, Florida, and they were there, and they were starting to learn some of these drinks, and we started discussing different things with rum and stuff back and forth, because there's a big rum culture there.
Yeah.
Then I had some friends move to Nashville, and of course whiskey culture's just going nuts up there, you know. And we're discussing drinks and everything, and I'm, you know, let's see, it was Tom and Josh in Jacksonville, Zach and Nicole, two other friends from high school that I'd known. We kind of diverged in college and still communicated and spoke to them. They were in the industry up there. And just kind of saw how things were evolving with them. My friend Jeff Hazard, he moved up to Montana to go snowboard, but he was working in a little, what do you call it, the resort, ski lodge kind of thing. He's working in the lounge down there. So all these people that are traveling from Europe and everything else, he's picking up things behind the bar there constantly. People are talking to him and, you know, explaining these things. And then, of course, people, my friends, Karen Radney, who's a dietitian out in Austin, she married a guy named Brian Dressel, but they were dating for a while. Brian moved down from, he's from Georgia originally, moved to New York, where he developed his hand at bartending and mixology, then to Charleston, and then he was in Savannah, and then moved to Austin from there.
Okay.
In Austin, he's been at the East Side Showroom, which is a gypsy-themed, kind of speakeasy-themed. It's all over the place, really, but it's an amazing place. He came there to work under Adam Bryan, who is one of the foremost mixologists in Austin, one of the guys that was really on the cusp of bringing this movement to Austin, Texas. So he learned everything from him. That's one of the guys I got to speak with and have gotten to know and learned a lot from him. Adam Bryan moved from Portland, Oregon to Austin. Okay. So you've got New York, you've got Portland, the two places where the thing's starting. These guys meet up here in Austin, Texas, and develop a whole cocktail culture there.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, the cocktail culture follows the beer culture, which was occurring like crazy. It started in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, you had, obviously, people in Portland love to drink. There's not much else to do. It's raining all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, they started the barrel-aged cocktails.
There's hacky sack.
There's hacky sack. There's that, and pot smoking, I guess, and all that. But they started the barrel-aged cocktails in Portland, which they're taking old whiskey barrels, sherry barrels, and aging cocktails, homemade cocktails like Negronis, and realizing that you're imparting the tannins off the wood of the barrels and seeing the new products that you get out of that after aging it for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Now the people, let's see, where else was it? San Francisco. I had a friend named Mark that moved out there for a while, and he got into the San Franciscan culture, which they were making in their drinks. You know, they got really big on the farm-to-table movement. It was spawned there, I guess. Well, that was reflected also in the cocktails they were making, because he was making drinks with fresh cherry tomatoes and basil. Not a Bloody Mary per se, but an actual cold drink made with muddled tomatoes.
Okay.
Using all the fresh herbs and everything like that. So that's really where I picked up some of those things, you know, lemon thyme and things like that. Yeah. You know, that's where I heard about these things. So San Francisco, and it all really goes back to Austin, which is where I saw the potential for this market the last time I traveled out before we opened the bar here.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, okay, now every city's doing this. Why isn't Mobile?
Yeah.
And I realized people are lazy here. it's too easy to bartend here. Why make it difficult on yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does seem like